Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It is Wednesday, the 20th day of March. It's also National Ravioli Day. I like raviolis.
I don't.
Really?
No.
See, I like them. It's also National Native HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. I'm not sure what that means, why the native part is in there. That doesn't make sense to me. National Proposal Day. So if you haven't popped the question yet, today could be a good day to do it. Also, National Kick Butts Day. Today is the first day of spring. And National Little Red Wagon Day. I'm ready for spring, by the way.
I am beyond ready for
so
spring.
Ready for spring. I've got a guest today who has a book. Debra Gwartney has a book called I Am a Stranger Here Myself. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that. So I'll be chatting with Deb coming up later in the program. And we got a lot of other fun stuff to get to. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by bettercreditcards.net. A study in the Journal of Neuroscience found that forgetting things works the brain harder than remembering them. So it's harder to forget something than it is to remember it? I must be really talented.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I can forget things pretty darn easily. Like Heidi was just telling me a bunch of things I should be getting done. And I'm like, forgot all of those things already. I have a list.
You should have a list.
I do have a list.
Yeah.
She's really good at making lists, and now she's making me make lists. First thing on my list, make a list. Surveys and studies and such brought to you by bettercreditcards.net.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
And this is Your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by TimeForRehab.com. A Central Florida man remains behind bars after he told police he was high on meth when a woman found him asleep on her sofa. It says here deputies found 40-year-old Craig McDonald after the homeowner said that she walked into her house and this dude was just laying there and he refused to leave. Michelle Oakley told the NBC affiliate there that she said, excuse me, you don't belong here. Where are you supposed to be? You're in the wrong house, dude. McDonald apparently kicked one of the deputies in the chest while they were trying to help him out. They placed him under arrest. He was charged with trespassing and battery on an officer and is being held on a $51,000 bond.
Well,
pretty big bond.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. I had somebody that came into my home one time accidentally and fell asleep on my sofa accidentally. They thought they were in my neighbor's house, but they were in my house.
So you lock your doors.
I know, and I usually did, but I forgot that day, so that was bad. This happened not too long ago. Central Florida is where this one happened. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. James Gunn has been rehired to direct the third installment of Guardians of the Galaxy's franchise. So he was hired, and then he was fired last year for an offensive tweet, and then whoever they were working with apparently wasn't working out, and they're like, yeah, we're over that tweet now, so come on back. So that's kind of weird. Like, it bothered him so much last year, and then this year they're like, yeah, that's fine. He's better. Let's just go with him. Honey Boo Boo is in the news. It's actually not her. It's her mom, Mama June Carter. She was arrested for possession of crack cocaine.
Now, does this surprise anybody?
I think it's really sad.
It's very sad, but I'm not, I got to say, I'm not shocked.
I don't think anybody's shocked to hear this, but I just think it's really sad. And, you know, you've got an example to set for Honey Boo Boo. So why are you laughing? This is today's Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
Here's a fun trip back to the 80s.
Surely you can't be serious.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert May 3rd and 4th. Hang out with other 80s fans.
International language of love.
Meet several 80s icons from the movies and rock out to awesome music from the 80s. Flock of Seagulls, The Romantics, Mr. Mister, Scandal with Patti Smythe, Thomas Dolby, Pretty Poison, and more. See the full list of bands and icons at radiotravelgroup.com. That's radiotravelgroup.com.
Now your scoop of the day brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. The nation's automakers will soon be adding radar and laser technology to the all-new vehicles so they can track what people do in their cars. I don't know if I like that. So lasers.
So that who can track?
The people that are making the cars, apparently. I don't know. It says they're adding radar and laser technology to the new vehicles so they can track what people do in their cars. I've got a link to the story if you want to read all about it. I don't know anything more than what I just told you, other than it sounds kind of weird to me.
I'll stick to older vehicles. I'm fine with that.
Got to hand crank ours to get it started. An Ohio man is drinking nothing but beer for every one of his meals during Lent. He's doing this, he says, to honor the monks from the 1600s who did the same thing. So there are some people
I
who are
like
saying,
to honor the monks.
but there are some people who are saying, well, he's not really giving anything up for Lent. He is too. Sobriety, senility. No, what would it be if you're not senile? You'd be what? Sane. Sanity. That's the word I meant to say there. The joke wasn't funny either way, was it? All right, moving on.
Nice try, Henry.
United Airlines pilot bought 70, not 17, 70 hamburgers and shared them with his passengers on a long flight delay. That was really nice.
That's pretty cool.
I'd like to order 70 burgers. Just get them here. A British Coast Guard helicopter rescued a dog that was trapped on top of a 5,000-foot mountain. My question is, how in the world did the dog get up there?
Yeah, really.
This dog was apparently just out for a walk and kept climbing and ended up on the top of a 5,000-foot mountain.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's really cool that they went up and got him. I think that's nice. A Swedish tech company has unveiled a robot that the company claims can conduct a job interview without discriminating against somebody's race or gender.
Oh, my gosh.
Have you seen this thing?
No.
It looks really weird to me. Can you imagine sitting in a job interview talking to a robot and, trying to... How would you impress a robot?
Right? I don't know. This is so ridiculous.
I can blink. I don't know what you do exactly. I'm not sure how you would impress a robot. I think it's a bad idea. I don't understand that there's a need for this. Is there a need for robots to...
I don't believe so, no. It makes me really nervous, actually, how many positions they are filling with robots.
And there are a lot of companies out there that are putting robots in charge of a lot of things. Robots and computers. So... it is kind of concerning to me. An 80-year-old driver jumped out of a moving vehicle in San Francisco.
Whoa.
And suffered minor injuries. Why in the world?
Why?
I don't know. I don't have all those details, but why in the world would you do that? At any age, but 80 years old, you don't want to jump out of a moving vehicle at that
Well,
age.
there's got to be more to that particular story.
Well, I would assume there
Did
is.
you only cut out like that line and you're like, oh, that's all people need to know?
I grabbed the headlines, Heidi, and then if you're really interested, I've got a link to all of these in our show notes. So.
Well, that's what I'm going to have to find out about.
Do you really need to know?
I need to know why he jumped out of a car.
All right. Well,
it's
first,
kind of an interesting one.
I'll come back to that. I'm going to read this other story first. An Arizona man... Now I clicked the button and it went to the other thing. An Arizona man was arrested after breaking into a woman's home and making tortillas. Do you need to know more about this story, too?
I really do not. No.
If you're going to break into somebody's house, what would the first thing be on your list? Make tortillas? I think not. So here we are. This story, I clicked on the link. 80-year-old jumps out of a moving vehicle. It says here, this happened Saturday night. He jumped out of his car and rolled onto the highway. It's on the interstate. They got a call at 6:30 p.m. on a Saturday about a man on the freeway with his driver's door open, and he dove out of the car. The man his now driverless car hit the divider and then veered back across the lanes. The elderly man suffered a cut on his head, but it doesn't say in this story.
That is ridiculous. That's
why
kind
he
of
did
important. Why would you jump out of your car?
I'm looking to see if there's more information on here. There's no statement given as to why he did this. Things could have turned out far worse for the 80-year-old man.
Holy cow.
And perhaps others. So that's why there's no more details, Heidi.
Because there were no more details.
Maybe they asked him, why'd you jump out of the car? And he said, I did what? I don't know. I don't know what happened. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Do you have IRS tax problems? Are they keeping you up at night?
Afraid to open your own mail or even answer your telephone? If your tax problems are affecting your family life, you need to know you have options. You have rights, and we'll make sure you get them. Call and speak with Mike Habib, the tax expert who will handle your case at 877-78-TAXES or online at myirs.taxrelief.com. That's 877-78-TAXES or myirs.taxrelief.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We have a special guest joining us today. Debra Gwartney is the author of I Am a Stranger Here, Myself. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I hope you are too.
Absolutely. And it says here that we use frontier history into personal exploration of womanhood, place, and belonging. So let's talk a little bit about this book and the inspiration. What made you decide to write this book?
Well, I had many inspirations, but I'm going to say today that it was my grandmothers, both of whom came from long frontier families in the West, and I was very close to both of them. And I think I kind of absorbed some of their troubles, their sadness, also their joy, and they were very interesting, complex women who had a great deal to do with my childhood, and I've always been curious about them and their role in their culture. And then I came across this historical woman named Narcissa Whitman. She was the first Caucasian woman to cross the Rocky Mountains. She was a missionary with her husband in 1836 is when they crossed the Continental Divide. And I realized she was kind of the grandmother of all of us in the West. And so I thought, I want to tell her story, which is a very troubling and sad and disturbing story, and then combine that with my story of my relationship with my grandmothers.
That's really cool. Now, you're doing this in such a way where it's a memoir, and it's not the first time you've done this, is it?
That's right. I wrote a memoir about motherhood. I'm the mother of 4 daughters, and I wrote a book some years ago about my relationship with them as teenagers and how we had to get through a really tight spot with each other. It was a tough time, but we made it through.
Well, I think it's really cool that the writing style that you have is different than the way some people would do like a novel or whatever, but doing it in a memoir style, it's a little more educational, isn't it?
I don't know if it's educational. I hope it is. What I hope mostly that readers get out of it is that it's a very, it's as true as I can make it, and by truth I mean that I'm being as honest about myself as I possibly can. I'm not trying to hide anything or accuse anybody, or it's not an indictment of anything, but just really an exploration of who I am on the earth and why I do the things I do. And I think, who can't relate to that? We all struggle and wonder about ourselves and have a lot of doubts. And so, I just try to be really honest and about my own struggles, because I think that's where humans can talk to each other in a really enlightened way.
Again, my guest today is Debra Gwartney, and she is the author of a brand new book that just came out on the 15th of March, and it's called I Am a Stranger Here, Myself, and this is a memoir. Now, where can people find this book? Is it online? Is it in bookstores? Is it both?
Oh, yes, it's in bookstores. It's in all the stores online, and you can go straight to the book from my website, which is DebraGwartney.com. I would love people to find it.
Absolutely. So what is next for Debra Gwartney? Are you working on your next project already?
Oh, gosh. Well, this one kind of exhausted me, so I'm going to kind of shake it off like a dog does and think, okay, where's my next swimming pool or whatever. I haven't dived in yet, but I want to. This was a 7-year project, so, maybe I'll go sit in the sunshine for a while.
Well, you certainly deserve that. So is that typically how long it takes to put together a book the style that you do? Is it about 7 years usually?
It is for me, but I think other people are faster than I am. But I wanted to do a lot of research. I read many, many books and visited a lot of places. I wanted to know this woman intimately before I wrote about her. As
you were working on this project, were there things you discovered that really surprised you?
Oh, absolutely. So many things that surprised me, and that was the absolute pleasure of doing this work. I went into the project thinking that I was going to really hate her, and I do disagree with a lot of what she did, but I discovered a lot about her loneliness and her she struggled, and it just made her so human to me. And she her only child drowned, and I found her journals about that, and they're just heartbreaking. So she really went through a lot.
Again, our guest today, Debra Gwartney. Debra, thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
I am so appreciative of your time. Thank you so much.
Again, the book is called I Am a Stranger Here Myself. I've got a link to it in our show notes so you can find all the details, and you'll find that at johnandheidishow.com.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. Bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Adding salt to your water does not make it boil faster. Says, I'm sure you've probably
I
seen
never
this too.
thought that it did.
Oh, I've actually heard this. If you put a pinch of salt in there, it actually makes it boil faster. No, it really doesn't.
Oh.
It says it makes the proceedings move along faster in somebody's mind, but it doesn't. It does not make the water boil any faster. It might even slow things down by increasing the boiling point to about 216 degrees instead of 212. So it does not make that go quicker. So for those of you who are wondering, now you know.
Here's a fun trip back to the 80s.
Surely you can't be serious.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert May 3rd and 4th. Hang out with other 80s bands.
International language of love.
Meet several 80s icons from the movies and rock out to awesome music from the 80s. Flock of Seagulls, The Romantics, Mr. Scandal with Patti Smythe, Thomas Dolby, Pretty Poison, and more. See the full list of bands and icons at radiotravelgroup.com. That's radiotravelgroup.com.
Now, fear this. Time for fun with phobias. Scoliophobia. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm going to spell it. You see if it's not going to help. But SCOLECIPHOBIA. Scolecophobia. It's a fear of worms.
Oh, yeah, I never would have gotten that.
How would anybody have guessed that? If you knew that, I mean, hats off to you, because that is a tough one.
I was going to guess like a fear of a curvature of your spine because of scoliosis.
I could see that. But now, fear of worms. Today's fun with phobias.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Now, some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. A domestic dispute over pickleball turned violent and resulted in the arrest of a 61-year-old woman for pummeling her husband.
So can you tell me do you know what pickleball is?
This was at the Villages, by the way, in Florida. So 1:45 a.m. is when this happened.
Holy cow.
They were up
They're
late.
way past their bedtime.
So the husband and wife were playing pickleball. They got into a verbal altercation regarding pickleball. A pickleball clinic that was going to be offered. Like he wanted to go and she didn't, or one of those kind of things. So let's just pause right here and tell you. Pickleball is a paddle sport. It combines elements of tennis, badminton, and ping pong. So it's a sport that's got a lot of those different things, but it's its own sport.
All right.
And they were going to be doing this little pickleball how-to, and they got in this altercation. And it says here... she punched him in the face, shoved him, and struck him in the foot with a small metal easel.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, they got into a verbal altercation regarding the pickleball membership. She claimed that she only slapped her husband after he chest bumped her. She was arrested, by the way. She's 65.
Holy cow.
Arrested on a felony charge. For those of you who don't know, pickleball, once again, I guess we already explained that. It's a sport.
Holy cow, that escalated
story.
Quickly.
It did. Very bizarre story from the Villages. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Maybe this is why Gregory and Marcia Abbott allegedly bought their daughter's way into college. Their son, who is a rapper, his name is Malcolm, he popped out of their Fifth Avenue building to smoke a giant blunt while defending his parents and bragging about his latest CD. Says they're blowing this whole thing out of proportion. He stood out there right by the Metropolitan Museum of Art. He said, I believed everyone has a right to go to college, man. In between drags on his blunt, Malcolm, whose father is a founder of a food and beverage distributor, International Dispensing Corp., he admitted, I didn't go to college. The toker, who sports a ponytail and raps under the name of Billa, then shamelessly plugged his music. Hey, check out my CD, Cheese and Crackers. There's a song called If I Lost My Money. Anyway, I think we're done promoting this dude. This is so weird. This is just one of the many weird things that I think is connected to that whole entire topic of the whole pay-to-play stuff. But if you want to read about it, it's today's Moment of Duh. Thanks for listening. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. Bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
Now, these three things, Heidi, tell me, what do these three things have in common?
All right.
A mushroom, a baseball player, and a bottle. What do they all have in common? A mushroom, a baseball player, and a bottle. Think about the top of all of these. What do they have? Caps. A mushroom has a cap on the top.
Oh.
A baseball player has a cap on the top, and a bottle has a cap.
I would have
on the
never
top.
called the top of a mushroom a cap.
Oh, that's
so,
what it's called.
Yeah,
It's a mushroom
that.
cap.
Okay.
By the way, the best part of the mushroom, I think. I'm not much of a stem guy. I'm more of a cap guy.
I don't like mushrooms.
I know. I don't. I like them. I like them all.
I'll
I
eat
the whole
them
darn
if like
thing.
they're in food. I won't freak out like you do with onions. But
I'm a wuss. I can't help it. Thanks for listening to these three things on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of radiotravelgroup.com. We are getting so darn close to that, by the way. It's coming up May 3rd and 4th in Las Vegas, Nevada.
it's going to be such a great
I
time.
think we're going to have a blast. There's a bunch of fun stuff. If you want to read all the details, you can find that at radiotravelgroup.com. Now, I got to scroll down here to get to my good news. You ready for this, Heidi? Do you like the good news?
I do.
I think so, too. So a woman quit a successful career with the city so she could help over 100 rescued animals. We're animal lovers in this household.
Very much so.
We have a couple of puppy dogs, but I don't know if I could handle 100. That might be a bit much. We've got
Well, if
two.
she's got like a big farm or something, that would be.
She's doing this in a one-bedroom apartment.
She is
No, she's
not.
I'm just teasing. Have you already read this story?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you'd already read it. Daria Pushkareva was a successful photographer living in Russia's capital city, Moscow, when she decided to leave the bustling city life behind and move to a farm, lives in the woods now with over 100 rescued animals. She grew up as a child in Russia, and she'd always dreamed of rescuing dogs and opening her own dog shelter, though she ended up leading a pretty robust career as an elite wedding photographer in Moscow. And then she always felt the desire to leave everything behind in search of something new. It says, I was thinking she worked for the city. She worked in the city. So I think earlier I said she gave up her
Yeah,
career
you did.
with the city, but she
But
gave
in
up
the
career
city.
in the city. There we go. Now she lives out on the farm, and she's working with these puppy dogs. She rescued the first one, was a dog with one eye, was covered in fleas, rescued him from a control shelter, an animal control place. And then from that led to another, and then to another, and now she has a whole bunch of animals, over 100, as a matter of fact, rescuing dogs and raccoons and foxes and other
What?
things. Yeah, there's a story here, there's a link with all the pictures and all the stuff. Some of these are special needs animals.
And they're all like living in harmony, like all out, walking around.
All living in the same room or anything. They don't share a bedroom or anything. But I do have a link to the story if you want to read all about it. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.